The Smash roster is one of my favourite parts of the entire Smash series, with the inclusions of new fighters every installment. Never knowing who's going to be added into Smash 6, some fighters don't make it in, either being deconfirmed from Mii costumes, assist trophies, or other fighters taking the spot, as well as a few other things. Welcome to A New Foes Appeared, where we talk about ideas for fighters that could possibly happen in Smash 6, if not the future. I'm your host, BB8 from BB8 House. Let's get into it. Up next. That's right. Impostor from Among Us is who we're going to talk about today. This is a joke character, and it was a suggestion from a subscriber. So this is why I am going to talk about Impostor from Among Us in this video. And I am fully aware that the final fighter had been announced to be Sora, but I am going to continue A New Foes Appeared for Smash 6 ideas. And not one character I've talked about so far has made it in. But I did consider talking about Steve as well as Rex and Pyra. Both made it in. One didn't, as Pyra and Mithra, but I did consider talking about Steve before he made it in. So let's get into it, shall we? So for the Imposter's moveset, it was so hard to come up with a moveset for the crewmate, so I decided to only do the Imposter. So, its neutral B will be Sabotage. A unique special that has 4 different options for abilities. Using B will bring up a small menu with 6 options for the imposter to choose from. Highlighting and clicking on one of the 6 sabotages that are representative of the sabotages in Among Us will activate that sabotage. Each sabotage does something different, has a different length of time, and after the sabotage is finished, there is a 15-second cooldown before another sabotage can be used. You can use each of the sabotage options once per stock. So once used, you cannot use it again until you lose a stock. The sabotages are as followed. So extending on the sabotage part, the communication sabotage, pressing the communication sabotage triggers all the opponent's character's health bars to disappear for a short amount of time. While it might not seem like a huge sabotage, this means the fighters cannot see what damage percentage they're at, what others' damage percentage is, and any character who has some sort of indicator above their health, such as Little Mac, Robin, Steve, and others, will not be able to see those either. This sabotage lasts for about 12 seconds. The light fixture sabotage, pressing the light fixture sabotage, submerges the battlefield into a complete darkness for a short amount of time. Just like the Nightmare Assist trophy's power, everyone on the battlefield, including the imposter, will be submerged in darkness and cannot see anything. This lasts for about 8 to 10 seconds, about as long as the Nightmare Assist trophy lasts. The Seismic Stabilizer meaning that pressing the seismic stabilizer sabotage causes the stage to become unstable as earthquake rumble and shakes the stage violently. This deals the earthquake damage effect to everyone except for the imposter who began the sabotage. Reactor meltdown. Pressing the reactor meltdown sabotage causes the imposter to place a mini reactor where the sabotage was initiated. The reactor begins to flash red as the reactor counts down in a gigantic deadly explosion that is about the same size and deals the same amount of damage to Hero's Magic Burst Special. You can deactivate the reactor by dealing high enough damage to it before it explodes, about 50% damage, at which it will glow green and disappear. The count is about 8 seconds before it explodes. The oxygen sabotage. Pressing the oxygen sabotage causes the air in the battlefield to become poisoned. For a short amount of time, every opponent except the imposter who started the sabotage will gain a poison effect where they will gradually take damage over time and over the course of about 8 seconds while the sabotage is active. Not as deadly as the other sabotages, but it will rack up damage to all fighters and opponents. And finally, the door sabotage. Activating the door sabotage causes a very unique effect to the entire battlefield. For about 10 seconds while the sabotage is active, nobody can be launched out of the left or right blast zones. 2 force fields, similar to the invisible walls in the King of Fighters stage, appear on the edges of the stage. This makes it so the opponents will bounce off these walls and can be used for a combo setups. Upper and downward blast zones are still active with this sabotage. The side special being the emergency meeting button. The imposter takes out a box with a large red button on it and tosses it forward. Tossing the button into an opponent deals very minor damage, but that is because it is not meant to be a kill move. Instead, this move is a way to bring opponents close by to deliver attacks. Once the emergency button is on the battlefield, anyone, including the imposter and any opponent, can hit the button. When the button is hit, a large shockwave will go out around the emergency button, which will instantly pull any opponents or players who did not hit the button with a gravitational pull towards the button. This causes opponents to flinch as they are pulled towards the button, and whoever called the emergency meeting has the chance to deliver attacks to the opponents if they are quick enough. The button will maintain on stage for about 15 seconds and will have a 15-second cooldown before disappearing. When the button is pressed, a small bar will appear above the button that will fill up in the course of 5 seconds. After the bar is filled back up and vanishes, that means the button can be pressed again. The up special being Ghostly Ascension, an ability exclusive to Smash that references an aspect in Among Us. The imposter flashes a bright flash as they suddenly transform into a ghost. Yes, the ghostly form of the killed crewmates in Among Us becomes the imposter's up special. The imposter becomes its astral ghost form as it floats lightly high into the air. While it is floating in its ghost form, you can move the analog stick to move in any direction. So the move can also be used to gain ground on the battlefield. The ghostly recovery form deals no damage to the opponents who make contact with it, but it has a unique feature. Because it is a ghostly form, the imposter is untouchable in this form, which means attacks go right through them, and they also move the opponents once reaching the peak distance or height. The imposter transforms back into its flesh damageable form and enters a free fall state. The down special being Vent Transport, a special move that can only be used while standing on the platform. The imposter takes out a regular vent and slams it onto the ground in front of where they are standing. This becomes a vent that can only be used by the imposter who placed it. Pressing down B in any other part of the battlefield, as long as it is done on a physical surface, will cause the imposter to place a second vent which they can jump into. After a moment of jumping into the vent, the imposter jumps out of the first vent that is placed. Jumping out of the vent also deals great upwards knockback and damage. So keep track of the enemies moving around your vent so you can sneak up on them once popping back out of the vent. The vents will disappear and more can be placed. The vents can only be placed on physical surfaces though, so you can use the special in the air, and if you press down B in the air, the imposter will just look at the camera confused. This is a great way to get around the battlefield and in the theme of the imposter. Using the down special to your advantage can allow you to easily sneak up on opponents who aren't paying attention to their surroundings. And finally, for the final smash being eject, the imposter takes out a giant red button and slams it to call an emergency meeting. This button sends out a gigantic shockwave all around the imposter, and any opponent or player caught in the shockwave is pulled towards the imposter. The imposter and the captured fighters are then sent to a cinematic where the screen comes up, the same one during the emergency meetings in Among Us, with all the captured opponents' stock images on the voting board. The voting board reads who is the imposter, and suddenly several crewmates begin to vote on who they believe to be the imposter among us. The crewmates will all vote for the captured fighter who has the highest percentage of damage. A short cinematic then plays of the selected fighter being tossed out of the spaceship and then flying through the vacuum of space. As they do, the words "character was not the imposter" show up on the screen as the ejected fire is delivered. Massive damage as everyone is sent back to the main battlefield. Other opponents who are pulled into the final smash will receive no damage as long as they did not have the highest damage percentage, making it the unique final smash where opponents can be caught in it and take no damage. If the opponent who is suspected as the imposter, has over 90% of damage. When they are ejected, they receive automatic knockout. So for the stage, I chose the Skeld, being from the game Among Us, which released in 2018. I did have an idea for a transitional stage, which transitions you to either Mirror HQ, Polus, as well as the airship. The iconic ship of Among Us comes to Smash as the imposter's home stage. The Skeld has a very simple setup as you fight in the main central cafeteria area of the Skeld. In the background, there are various tables, monitors, and a large window that you can look out into the dark vacuum of space. This stage has low gravity, similar to Mario Galaxy stage, and has an upper blast zone and left blast zone and right blast zone. While there are no hazards, minus low gravity on the stage, it does have two forms depending on if the imposter appears in the fight or not. If the imposter is in the fight, various crewmates will calmly walk around the stage in the background. They will take seats in the cafeteria tables and watch the battle. And they will generally calm as they enjoy the fight. If the imposter is not on the fight, then the crewmates can be seen running around frantically to and running from the cafeteria. As they scatter about to complete the tasks and find the imposter as the battle goes on, you may see the imposter occasionally deliver a kill to a crewmate. As it uses an alien tongue kill animation, the imposter runs away and leaves the body of the crewmate. After a little longer in the fight, another crewmate will enter and find a dead body and report to start an emergency meeting. All crewmates will join at a table and will vote out a crewmate who will walk off screen and then can be seen floating through space in the background. This will continue either the battle's finished, or if you keep going, the imposter will pick off its crewmates one by one until it is the sole survivor, at which point it will walk to the center of the cafeteria and watch the battle as it stands with dead crewmate bodies around it. So for the classic mode, being Imposter Among Us. A very unique classic mode, the Imposter's classic mode has them face off 6 opponents per round, chosen from the original cast of Super Smash Bros. 64. Each opponent is the same fighter, but with multiple different costumes, of course. In each round, there is one randomly selected imposter among the opponents, and if you KO the imposter character, then you complete the level. Every level is on a space-themed stage, and all stages throughout the imposter's classic mode have low gravity. So round 1 being Mario, round 2 being Donkey Kong, round 3 is Link, round 4 Samus, round 5 is Fox, round 6 is Pikachu, and the final boss is Kirby. The alts being the simple red, blue, green, yellow, orange, white, purple and black. The Kirby hat, get a helmet copy of the imposters, along with the copy ability of Sabotage. The spirits, there's not really much to offer when it comes to spirits, but the crewmates being Ace Primary versus Kirby 6 times. Defeat the main fighter to win, and being a timed battle. I know this one sounds like a joke, but Henry Stickmin versus Mr. Game & Watch. Explosive and fire attacks aren't as effective against the opponent, and it's a time battle. The enemy has increased power when at high damage. The pets of Among Us, being Novice, Support versus 10 Tiny Yoshis. The enemy avoids conflict and is a timed battle. And the Impostor Parasite form, being a Support versus Corin. The enemy has increased power to their special attacks. The enemy has increased power to their smash attacks, and you start the battle with 300% damage. So guys, what did you think of A New Foe Has Appeared Impostor? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn notifications on so you don't miss another New Foe Has Appeared like this one. I think I already said this in a previous New Foe Has Appeared, but with the final fighter revealed to be Sora, I am still going to continue doing A New Foe Has Appeared. So more New Foe Has Appeared will be coming. These silhouettes seen on screen will be some of the fighters I am going to talk about in the future. And do not put an order of the characters in the comments. You can guess who they are, but just don't put an order in the comments, because the order of who I'm going to talk about has already been decided by a wheel. So, hopefully, I can finally bring out one New Foe Has Appeared episode per week with these fighters. So that's it for Impostor. BB8 out.